Hello, welcome to chapter 4 of our medical terminology course. Chapter 4 is focuses on Greek verbs. And as for chapter 3, you do not have prefixes or suffixes to study, but only a list of vocabulary on page 40 and 41. So, what I want to draw your attention to, however, is that you will see in this chapter that contrary to the formation of words with Greek nouns, when you have Greek verbs, you will see that the column that gives you the Greek, so the first column, is very different from the word that you see in the combining form column. The reason for this is that Greek verbs have several forms depending on the tense of the verb. So, for example, a verb can have a form in the present but use a different root in a different stem of the verb in the past or in the future. Okay, a little bit like some of the irregular verbs in English. If you think about the verb to go, for example, you say I go, but then you say I went for the past. Okay, so you use a different stem of the verb, the stem of for the past. The same things happen in Greek. This is the reason why sometimes the combining form does not look at all like the present infinitive form that you are giving that you are given in the first column. Okay, let's take for example the verb gignestai. Okay, come into being that you have in any word that ends with Genesis, genic, genus, okay, like hepatogenic or carcinogenic or lipogenesis, okay. All these words come from, not from the present of the verb, that means come into being, okay, which is gignestai, but from the form egenomen, which is the past, okay, and that has the stem of the past, gen, okay, so you get gen or gen, and you form your medical terms from this, okay. Same thing, for example, for the word for the verb piptain, that means fall, drop, okay, prolapse, okay, that has a double form in the present, okay, but it gets only the basic form. This is just a duplication of the pi is a duplication of the basic stem pt, okay, from which you get you form the medical terms, okay. So this only to explain to you why the in many cases the column of the Greek verbs looks so different from the combining forms that you get for the English terminology. So do not worry about that. The reason is that, okay, that there are several stems for each verb, and sometimes the forms are formed from the past or the basic root of the verb that does not look at all like the present infinitive that you are given in the first column, which is the basic form of the verb. Okay? For another important issue for this chapter is the fact that in many of these verb forms have been attached to prefixes and suffixes to form new forms that have just to be memorized like that, because they are used in that form all the time. So on page bottom of page 40 and beginning of page 41, you have these forms that you will find in several compounds, and so need to be memorized as well, just like the first page. Okay. They are very common words, okay, like Genesis, Janus, words for the instruments, like graphy or scopy, scope, okay, and words describing discharge, hemorrhage, excessive secretion. All these words need to be memorized. Tomy for surgical incision. You will see that there are words that are very common and need to be memorized. These are the kind of suffixes that are creating problems for you in the homework, I notice. Whenever you have words that are not in the official lists, but are the exceptions, you stumble in them. Okay, so remember that you really have to study also the exceptions, to memorize the exceptions. Like everybody had that problem yesterday with anastomosis, okay, because you try to break it down, and by breaking it down it means nothing, just because it's a word that is used with a specific meaning and cannot be brought back to its etymology to understand it. Okay, good.